And so like those were the ones that go through the training groups.
Was Annie?
We are in the Essex Town Clerk's office. This is the office where most people come when they don't know where to find something or who to talk to. It's also the office that keeps most of, if not all of, the records for the town. We preserve them in the vault, which is right over there. We can go in there in a moment. All the deeds for properties are recorded in there. We also have vital records. There's surveys, just a wealth of information in there. We also issue dog licenses here, marriage licenses, motor vehicle registration renewals. We collect property taxes and water and sewer bills. We really are the Jill of all trades. I'm going to say that because there's only 3 women that work in the office here, 4 women actually. 2 of us are full-time and 2 of them part-time as needed. We open the mail and distribute it. Just a lot goes on here. I'm not sure if people have questions, or if you just want to go in and take a look at the vault where everything is stored.
Sure.
So
Okay.
Are there laws around what type of facility constitutes a vault? Like, does it have to be fireproof or any of those?
It does have to be fireproof and ideally waterproof too.
Okay.
There's some sort of infrastructure in there that would go off if a fire did occur, so that it would suppress it. I don't know how long that works if your building is fully engulfed. I mean, I know some town offices that have had fires and they've lost their records because there's only so much precaution you can take to preserve and protect those records. So we've actually are in the process of making our records electronic online. And one benefit to that is if the office does ever burn and we lose some of our records, they're online and we can reprint them, because at this point there is no law that says that we can keep just an electronic copy. We also have to have a paper copy. So it's really important to make sure that we have that backup, which towns did not used to have. Our records go back to, I think, 1995 so far online. Why don't we go in the vault?
So there was a renovation recently within the last, I don't remember when it was.
was before my time.
During my tenure, but anyway.
Yeah.
Is this the newer vault? Is there a second? There's a second
So
vault, right?
it's my understanding that's the old vault. That's the doors right there behind Tracy. A lot of finances records and HR records are in there now. It's limited access to just the people here in the office. We keep that door closed. We keep it locked during off hours so that people can't get in there. And it's my understanding the HR records are also locked even during the day.
So that's town clerk.
Town clerk, even.
In the new vault, the old vault is old record storage. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yes, it is our supply closet as well. Yes.
My understanding is this one was within a few feet of the 100-year floodplain.
Oh, possibly.
That's one of the advantages of moving to the new one is it's slightly higher.
Yeah. There is a little step there. Do you want to go in the vault or?
Sure.
Okay, come on in. Oh, right here, just real quick. A lot of people come in and research our records. This is where they sit to do that for the online records. They're able to make copies, printing off on the computer over there. A lot of attorneys, real estate agents, paralegals come in, especially when property is conveying, so they can check the title, make sure there's a clear title, get anything cleared up if there's not a clear title before the property actually conveys. So prior to the online records, we actually have an index catalog over there, which is very similar to the old library catalogs for some of us that have been around longer than others. vital records and minutes and grand lists and property tax transfers on that back wall over there. On the far back corner to your left is all the election items as far as the voting machines, ballots that have been voted on that we have to maintain until a certain date, which is 90 days for local elections and 22 months for federal and state elections. All these red books are the land records, which are the deeds that we process on a daily basis. They're warranty deeds, mortgage deeds, liens, easements, all kinds of different types of documents. The surveys are over here behind, to my left here. Get filed there. Up in community development, Shannon scans them in so that they're going to be online eventually for everyone, but right now it's just the staff that has access to the scanned copies so far. Any questions?
So there's you charge by the hour for people to come in to
Right, so
review records?
that is state statute. It's $1 per copy and $4 an hour to search. The residents of the town of Essex do not need to pay for the copy of their deed. That's a policy that was in place before I became clerk. I guess they felt that was a nice service to provide to the people that own property here. And yeah, so it's $1 per page and it's set by state statute.
Is that money that we keep, or do we have to pay this?
No, we keep it. We keep
Yeah,
it.
but
yeah.
is it for records preservation? Does it go into that fund, or is
No,
that,
it
that's-
actually just goes into the general fund. The records preservation fund is funded. $4 from every document that's recorded goes into the records preservation fund, which buys the books, the paper. Could go towards a new vault when we have a vault. If we need a new vault when we build our new building, some of the proceeds could go towards that. It can go to any restoration project that needs to be done. Sometimes the books are really old and they need to be sent off to be cleaned up and archived so that they last longer because they are permanent records. It's really important to be careful when you're handling them so that they don't get torn or get oils from the skin on them just because they are a permanent record.
Nanette, could you talk about the boards that you work with? So Board of Civil Authority,
Sure.
Cemetery, what they do?
So Jen pretty much staffs the cemetery. She's been tasked with that. I haven't had much involvement with that, but they meet once a month. We sell deeds to the cemetery plots in Mountain View Cemetery. That's the only one we have available right now that has lots that people can purchase. They also have to be an Essex resident or have ties to Essex in order to purchase a lot. I staff the Board of Civil Authority and the Board of Abatement. Jen would staff them when I'm not available, and vice versa with the Cemetery Commission. I would staff them if she's not available. And the Board of Civil Authority is responsible for elections and hearing grievance appeals. And grievance appeals are when the assessor's office issues a change of appraisal and the property owner does not agree with it. There's a process by which they appeal, and it can go all the way up to the state. The Board of Abatement is when folks would like to request a relief from paying taxes. It could be for a variety of reasons. The house burns down, somebody's insolvent, the property's insolvent because somebody passed away. Other reasons. The Board of Abatement is not required, however, to grant an abatement. They hear the application, the application, and they consider it, and they'll render a decision which gets sent off to the property owner.
I gotta assume that every year you have more and more records. Do you have space to grow into?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
We're getting there. So that back shelving unit, we are about, it looks like we might be a little bit more than halfway across. Once we fill that up, we need to figure out something.
How often do you add records?
Well, we add records every day,
Sure.
pretty much. I just ordered 10 books to work on the next round of recordings, for lack of better words. The last 10 books were purchased over a year ago, so it'll take at least a year to fill 10 books. And it just depends on the real estate market too. When people are refinancing because interest rates have dropped, you've got those 15 or 18 or 21 page mortgage deeds that are coming in, and that takes up a lot of space in the books. People might be buying and selling property just because the interest rates are lower as well. The housing market is really tight right now, so, you know, we see some come through, but it's not as busy as it has been in other years.
Sure.
As an example, when the former owners of my home purchased, their deed is in book, I think 285 or 286,
Oh.
and that was in 1985, if I remember correctly. When we bought it in 2017, ours is in book 900 something.
They fill up quick, and
Wow, okay.
there's about
Wow.
900 to 1,000 pages in each book. So,
Okay. Impressive.
it's a very fascinating job. I really enjoy my position. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy helping folks when they come in here look for a deed. A woman came in this morning. She needed a copy of her deed, and I helped her look it up. They're always fascinated by all the records we have in here. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think it's fascinating that you can record anything.
Yes, this
As
is
long
true.
as you pay the fee, you can record anything.
As a clerk, we do not have discretion about what we can or cannot record unless it's a deed that references a survey after a certain date, and I can't remember what that date is, but if a deed comes in and it references a survey and it's not already on file with the clerk's office, then we can reject it until they file the survey. Other than that, I mean, this is one example that I was told years ago. Somebody could come in with a paper, something written on a paper napkin, pay the recording fee, and we have to record it. And it's because we're not the legal professionals.
When this was the police station, was this the holding cells? Or what was this used for?
That's a good question.
The
for somebody.
finance was the holding cell, right?
We're often joking with Dan that his office
Oh.
is used to yeah. folks.
This was built after.
This is
the-
purely built for this purpose.
This particular vault was built for this purpose, right,
Oh.
during that, because the leftover money from the police station bond, some of that was used to renovate this building, and this got built, so this was built after the police station was
Okay.
completed.
They would have been using, this vault would have been in here though, right?
Yeah, that vault was in existence.
And these records were in there,
all of it.
which, from my understanding, was extremely crowded.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
I don't know how they could have fit even a half of these documents in there.
So we can move on to finance if you're all ready. Greg is joining our tour.
Good morning. Hi, everyone.
Morning, Greg.
How's it going so far?
Great.
Awesome.
You get
Finance
a
next?
microphone, yeah.
All right. Wow.
Did we fail to tell you that?
No, that's right. I am Greg Duggan. I'm the town manager for Essex. What have you done so far? Have you done the clerk's
clerk.
office here? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll bring everyone next into finance.
Just let me know when we're getting close to IT.
Okay. This is Finance Director Dan Roy.
Morning.
The rest of the finance department spreads out through here. Some people are working from home today, and yeah, this is where we keep track of the money and the budgets and everything else. Dan works closely and finance works closely with the clerk's office, so that's part of why we are set up here with the proximity to the clerks. Processing a lot of payments as they come in and stuff like that. So, don't know if there's anything in particular you want to say or lay out, or are you taking questions, asking questions as you go through, or has it been mostly just show and tell?
Yeah, I guess if anyone has any questions, I think Joanne is in today. She's our payroll administrator, along with dealing with our tax as well. Jess is working remotely today as our assistant finance director, and Shirley as our AP clerk and utility billing administrator. She's also working remotely today. Sorry, the office is in a little bit of a scramble, but we are doing a cleanup day tomorrow, so kind of some preparations for that as well. But yeah, if you have any specific questions, I'll be willing to field them.
How do you feel to be in the old jail?
I hear stories every now and then about the jail. No ghosts, no creepiness like that, but definitely some weird stories. And I'm sure I don't have all the history of it either. There's more stuff out there that's, I'm sure,
Maybe you need
a
the
bit
library's
strange.
ghost hunting kit.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Good
there we go.
Yes, they have a
Yes.
ghost hunting kit.
So is it fair to say that the finances of the town they're usually pretty stable? They don't really, you don't have a crisis occasionally?
Yeah, I think in general we're very stable. There's been some change since the split from the city, so that's changed the dynamics, and now that we're kind of established on our own. I would say, we do have events that happen, like, a water sewer main event like we had recently along Maple Street, so those type of things can impact, but that's a utility enterprise fund thing, not a general fund thing. But we do have, generally, we're very, very stable, have, good practices and good policies here.
Are you nervous about anything happening at the federal level? How it will affect your finances way down from the federal to the state to the...
Yeah, we don't have a lot of reliance on federal programs, so we're not like a nonprofit that relies on U.S. aid or anything like that. We do have a few small police programs that have had some federal funding, but on the scale of like $10,000 to $15,000 to support equipment purchases and things like that, but nothing of a large scale that would compromise our programs.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Next Tom. Timmy, do we have anyone in particular, or are we just gonna wander
No, I
around?
mean, you can just, I guess you can make your way around. I had administration for 5 minutes. You can talk about administration, assessing, upstairs, community development. I don't actually have the rec department on here, but you could show where the offices are, only because Adrian will be doing something later on this afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we go upstairs, and then we can, on the way out, maybe before we leave, show where the rec office main entrance is for folks to see.
That works.
So, all right, upstairs. Let me know if I'm too far ahead or
Yeah,
too...
give me a little more.
Okay.
There you go. That's good.
So upstairs we have administration, the IT department, assessing, and community development. So in here is a couple of folks in the admin team, Kate LaRose and Tammy Getchell, who I think you've both met. They do a lot of our communications work, admin work, special projects work, and just really help us function smoothly and function well. Through here is our main hallway. The rest of the administration team is down in here. We have human resources. Travis is working from home today. My office is here, and then Deputy Manager Karen's office is also closed because Karen is on the tour right now.
You're welcome to open it. It's really that exciting.
Good. All right. Come over through here, so we'll come over this way. We're coming up to IT. Recently won a contest, so they have a really cool welcome sign here. This is Rob Beluga, our IT director. All right, next up we will do assessing. Hello. Got the select board here for a tour. So this is the assessing office. We have Joanne Roberts as the assistant to the assessor, and Karen Lemna is the assessor over there.
Hello.
So they stay busy keeping track of all of our property records, making sure they are up to date with all the property transfers, improvements that people do on their property. Helps, maintains an accurate grand list. Big project right now is the reappraisal in addition to all of that other work. So we have some consultants working on that, but Karen and Joanne are both instrumental in making sure that process moves along. And I don't know, anything else you want to say, Karen?
No, I guess I don't have to say anything. All I want to know, it's hard to explain everything that we do. So I guess I would ask your perception of what an assessing department does, and if you have any questions.
So how many members of the public that own property challenge their tax assessment in this town?
Well, in the last 6 years that I've been here, very few. The last, I'd say 3-4 years, there really, I don't want to say can't be a challenge. There can be a challenge, but the market is so different and our assessments are a lot lower than market value right now. So the appeals have kind of gone down because of that. Because when they appeal, they have to bring in documentation, burden of proof that the assessment is incorrect compared to market value.
I see. Thank you.
So I'm gonna toss you a softball.
Okay.
Why are the assessed values lower than market value?
Because we have not done a reappraisal since 2007. So all our values right now on the grand list are set as market data as of 2007. So when anybody does anything different, a permit, adds on, when I value, it's based on the 2007's market data. And that's why it's different. It's not as of today's market. To be fair and equitable. I can't reassess somebody's property that puts an addition on up to market value this year if we're basing everybody else on 2007. And that's the purpose of the reappraisal, to get everybody back up and to get the fair and equitable taxation, because we have some people that are paying a lot less and some people that are paying more. So just get everybody back at fair, equitable taxation.
So does it make you nervous that you haven't done a reappraisal in 18 years?
No.
Based on what happened in Burlington?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't, because we had, per statute, we had parameters that we would watch out for. And our common level of appraisal has been in the 90s. I walked in the door, it was like 94, 95. There was no reason to do a reappraisal. It got changed in about 4 years ago. They changed the common level appraisal from 80% to 85, which pushed us closer to that. And plus, because of the market of what happened during COVID. That's what caused us to decide, let's just do a reappraisal. We need to, because we were going to be mandated by the state.
So when do we expect the reassessment to complete?
That will be, values will be set as of April 1st, 2026. And property owners will be receiving their preliminary values sometime in May of 2026.
So it would be for the fall of 2026 tax bill with the first reflection of your assessments.
Absolutely, yes.
Do you expect an influx of folks grieving their new assessed value?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's been a long time. But that's great. We want them to look at their property data. That's the first step. Make sure we have that data correct, because we're not perfect. And that's the informal meetings. So let's make sure it's right. And then go from there. Because then they have another chance to grieve after they come in informally, because then we send out the formal notices. So the property owners are really going to get a chance to make sure things are right.
And Karen, having a value, a home that gets reappraised and its value, I'll just make something up, doubles. That doesn't mean their taxes are going to double.
That is
means just the value.
That's correct, because when the grand list increases, the tax rate tends to be decreased. So that is correct.
So we have about a $16.5 million budget. We have to raise that amount of money across all the properties in town, whether a home is valued at $300,000 or $600,000. That home is still going to pay its fair share towards that $16.5 million.
Absolutely, absolutely, because during the reappraisal, there'd be an average of what a property increases, say 40%. And if your property is at that average, you may not see much of a huge change in your taxes. But if it's above that, you might see a little bit, or if it's below, you might not see anything, it might decrease.
So the amount people pay towards the capital tax, which is a fixed rate, that will go up somewhat, but the overall property tax bill will roughly stay about
Yeah,
where
and
it's
it
at right
depends
now.
on what the education tax rate does
Good
next
point.
year. We don't know what that is, and that's 3/4 of your tax bill.
Can you tell us a little bit about the new mapping, the property app that you have?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, that was a long time coming, 6 years in fact. Well, even more than that. We now have a interactive, is what I want to call it, virtual online mapping. That is for the town. Just to let you know, we assess for the city and the town. We're doing 2 municipalities right now, 2 grand lists. Everything's 2. But we have for the town, we have an interactive mapping system now. So you can go on there and you can look up your tax map. It gives you some information, and there's a little place that you click on for your property record card. The only thing that's not available is commercial. That's because we're in a little bit of an antiquated system, but next year we're going to a more robust system, so all the cards will be online.
Why are we doing the cities this one?
Excuse me?
Why are you doing the cities?
We're under contract.
Yeah.
The reappraisal is over.
Okay, but then we'll be just.
Then it will be decided.
To be determined, yeah. So the assessing office for the town of Essex, back when Essex Junction was part of the town, we had one
Sure.
assessing department. When we split from the city of Essex Junction, both parties agreed to share assessing for until the reappraisal was done. Number of reasons for that. Probably the biggest one is that we knew we were getting close to a reappraisal, and the state has been giving us reappraisal money since 2007. Well, probably beyond that, but we had starting to build that account back up since 2007. So rather than trying to tease out whose money was whose, we decided to keep the assessing office shared between the two. Once the reappraisal is done, and as we get close to it being done, there's going to have to be some conversations between the town and the city as to what the future of assessing will look like.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right. Next up.
Well,
community
thank you.
development.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Karen.
Karen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, a little more I'm on it. Yeah.
So in here we have the Community Development Department, which includes economic development, town planning, zoning. Brittany's our ComDev administrative assistant here. Going to be getting promoted to planning technician, I believe is the term, in about a month and a half, in accordance with our new budget. We also have our GIS coordinator is around the corner. In community development, it's a busy department. They do everything from processing permits, handing out when people are trying to build. They process the applications that come through. So those are the large development applications that our town planner handles most of that. Sharon, our zoning administrator, does a lot of the enforcement and making sure people are complying with the zoning regulations. And Catherine, I think, is out today, but our community development director oversees it all. Also managing the Upper Main Street project, as the town has purchased that. Did you swing by there on the way? Has that been discussed at all today?
Drove by it.
Okay, well, up 80 and 90 Upper Main Street, the town purchased about 32 acres about a year and a half ago. The idea is to build a new municipal complex up there in the coming years. So a new fire station, which you see later on today. It's pretty outdated, getting small for what it is. It dates back to the 1970s. This building, we're looking at probably new town offices at some point in the future. That's partially because this building is in the city of Essex Junction. It's no longer in our own community. And it's also getting fairly tight. You'll see as we walk around, we're a little bit short on office space, and we're definitely particularly short on meeting space and conference room space, to the point where right now the conference room downstairs is being used by a Parks and Rec program. So just trying to find space for all that. So a community center, some recreation space, programming space is also something that's being considered for Upper Main Street. And lastly would be a library, which is also getting fairly small for the space. So Catherine and Community Development are heading up a lot of the conversations about what to build, when to build, how to pay for that build. Recently the select board, about 2 months ago probably, adopted a conceptual master plan for the site. So we're going to be spending some more time in the coming year talking about what's the timeline, how do we get some grant money hopefully to supplement that. We already have some in the works. And keep engaging our residents and community about how and when to build up there. So that's also a lot of what's happening out of this department.
And so much more.
And so much more. Thanks, Sharon. Questions, comments about what happens here? All right, we can take a quick peek into the GIS office. The true magic.
Enjoy, guys.
True magic.
Here's the magician, Shannon Lunderville. Shannon, we're just doing a select board tour with Town Meeting TV. So a lot of maps, a lot of storage, a lot of plans are stored in here, both in paper files, just because this is one of the areas we do have some storage space. And also Shannon keeps tons and tons and tons of records online, whether that's trail systems, the locations of our culverts, our sewer lines, water lines, all kinds of stuff in electronic files. So, anything you want to add?
I think you hit it.
All right. Any questions for Shannon?
She mentioned she did support for our IT, right? And
Oh yeah, I
she's
do a
like-
little bit of
yeah,
IT.
She's my right hand as well, so, website.
But if y'all have any other questions any other time, feel free to email me. Shout out. I'm here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Shannon. I believe that's, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I can show you, walk around front and show you the main entrance for Parks and Recreation.
Well, if there's anyone down there, they might want to talk as well. I
True,
mean, I
yeah,
know, because Adrian's only take us up to the park, so I mean, you still can show the office and
Okay.
people can register.
I needed Indian River Pass.
Summer programs and Indian Brook passes and things, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know Jen is down there at least, so
Okay,
you can go do
yeah.
that.
Let's try that. We have time.
It's good to have time.
It is good to have time. I feel like we were really short on time last night.
Actually, I can show you the conference room as well on our way out, just to show you where the select board meetings happen and what else happens in that room.
All right.
Everybody, I'm the town manager. We're just doing a quick tour, so I won't interrupt for too long, but just wanted to show Town Meeting TV and our select board. The select board knows what the conference room looks like, but if you don't mind some presents for just a couple minutes. Thank you. Which program is this?
Senior Center.
Senior Center, all right. So Senior Center, so, thank you. So the Senior Center had been shared with Essex Junction before we split. Right now, the Senior Center is closed. Essex Junction is remodeling their city offices, so a lot of the seniors will come here. This is the main conference room, so the Select Board will meet in here, Planning Commission, Development Review Board, Conservation and Trails Committee, Energy Committee, so all of our different boards and committees primarily meet in here.
Yeah.
Those are mostly in the evenings. We have a couple throughout the day, but while the space is not being used for our boards and committees, we do try to make it available for programs such as the Senior Center, different recreation programs. Staff will have meetings in here as well as needed, so it's kind of a catch-all room, and we keep it quite busy and quite filled.
all of our paper, because my mission and goal before I leave is to go migrate from paper to electronic. So all of our files are in this quaint little shed over there now. Cold storage. It does have power, just no heat, so it kind
I
of.
was gonna say, wasn't this room filled with just papers and maps?
Well, there was like
Couple years ago.
a big ancient desk here, and there was like file cabinets everywhere, if you guys remember. Yeah, they're all out in the shed now. They found a new home. I'm just hoping that the mice don't get to them. But we do use this as our meeting space at times, so quarters are tight, but
quaint
Yes.
and cozy.
We know each other very well. We have the galley kitchen, bathroom. Yeah. This was the old library for a long time.
Right.
And then before that, I believe it was some sort of telephone company or something like that. I think Bell was an exchange here, but yeah. A lot of work comes out of this office, a lot of engineering. Dan is our construction lead. He deals with all the permitting for working in the right of way and any of the work on major projects. He's the RPR, resident engineer on the stormwater project at the LDS Church. And right now I think he's out on River Road. Might be flagging because we're down a couple people over at Highway out due to vacations, but we have a project out there to inspect the force main for Alder Brook. 40 years old. It's all electronic. It's the smart ball technology. They send it down the pipe. I think I mentioned it. Yeah.
So are there any employees that worked here for years, like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in this department?
Yeah, well, in this office, I've been here almost 20. Annie's been here 12. We have guys over at the highway garage. I think Eric Barkham, he's our highway foreman, has been here 45 years. So.
You still have an intern?
Dennis?
Yeah.
Yes. The former director is now our intern. He does a lot of work. All that work that you're never able to get to as you're a public works director, he has the opportunity to go and clean up. So yeah, he's working for us, helping us with some ordinance changes and rewrites. And so.
So I think I missed your name and position on my way in.
I'm Aaron Martin. I'm the public works director for Essex.
Okay. And what's the difference between the town of Essex and the city?
Wow.
Has anything changed recently?
For us, we've pretty much been maintaining the town of Essex for our inception. So we still work with the city when we need to. We're actually doing some excavation in the city limits right now, so we work with their team to locate utilities and
Okay.
be neighborly.
Thank you.
Aaron, you mentioned in passing that before you leave you want to go digital. You're not leaving anytime soon, right?
No. That's how long it's going to take. I mean, we just put the files out. I have an attachment to paper, as you see, which I'm going to hand paper out to you folks. Got a foot in both worlds, so to speak. So
I'm the same way. That's fair.
yeah, but yeah, that's our missions, and our team out front. They're starting the process. Anything new that comes in, saved.
That's great.
So.
That's a lot.
Yep.
How big is this shed back there?
Oh man, it has a skeleton key. I don't know how to use a skeleton.
Oh wow, it's a
Dan's the only one who can open this door for. Yeah, it's big. We can
Oh,
take
wow,
a look
look
at
at
it
this.
if you want.
No, that's cool.
Do we have time, Tammy?
We were
As
10
long as
minutes
we're at the
early.
library by 9:45, you can arrange this any way you want.
It's right across the street.
I really like the little alien. I don't know who did this, but that's kind of fun.
That would be a Dan drawing.
So that's nice.
I'm gonna hop on this tour now.
Yes, absolutely.
Just gotta grab my stuff.
May I pass?
Very confused with all this traffic. Like, oh my gosh, why do we have all these people here? Nobody told us.
I think everyone came to see her, which most people do anyways. Yeah.
Anytime there's a new person or somebody coming in, it's
Yesterday. That's how my other dog is.
Oh. I was like, I don't think you want to get my office, but okay.
Thank you.
Where did Aaron go?
Oh, he went around.
He
the other
went to show the shed.
Okay.
Show the shed.
oh.
All right. Well, I guess we can head out.
Like I feel like I'm missing out.
I know.
Right? So there is a sign on this door that says there's
This one?
part of the project. We just need to get through the project first. I did make sure to put in our notice to the public that trees will be planted, so that we field those phone calls right away.
It's called service.
Very fun.
This is no pony show. I'm telling you what, we are professionals. Oh, well, no, I didn't think of that.
This is that guy who's we've kind of kept around here for 45 years. Yeah.
I'm still upright.
Yeah, he's seen a lot of the changes over the years. When was this building built? 78.
78.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened in 78.
Yeah.
Sand Hill, the hill on Sand Hill was built in 78. All new curbs and catch basins, and then the Pinecrest Drive, that was in 78. I think they got a lot of federal funding back then. This was built in federal, 80% was paid federal money in 78. I believe the fire station, part of that was built in 78. 1978, a lot of things happened.
Got 2 brand new trucks in. Truck 25, is it 25 and 35? You're 34. 34. Yeah. The only difference in the two is one's blue. Mechanics Day. Currently do not have a mechanic here at Highway. So everybody kind of takes turns. We send a lot of stuff out that's above our pay grade to do. Sometimes it puts us in a pinch where we have to park a vehicle or a truck, but better to be safe and not damage equipment further. Loader. There's a little bit of space for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crowded.
Sidewalk allows.
Get your attention.
Yeah. Here, we can go out. I gotta show you the salt shed. This is my favorite building.
Yeah, he used to like houses.
This pile will probably be another.
About 5,000 tons.
You just get it from.
Have to go way to Johnson.
To Johnson?
Johnson or Heinsberg.
Oh, wow.
The state needs to open up a few things. Everything is,
Yeah,
you know, it's too far to travel. It costs a lot of money for fuel.
sure does.
Yeah.
Wow.
Johnson or Heinsberg is where we travel to. The state needs to wake up. We gotta do something different here.
Could it be the 2x6 on the side holding the concrete together?
Yeah, that's it.
About all that's holding it together right now.
So we do have a design currently underway for this. We've attempted to go and solicit state funds through their stormwater program to offset some of the construction costs. Right now, we have a rough estimate of 3/4 or $750,000. we want to add an extra bay to the side, so obviously we could kind of downsize the scope of the project, but I think it would be the wrong decision. I think we should go with the 3 bays, get as much salt up here at this complex as we can. How many more loads we got to put in here?
Well, we can put in just one more, which is a triaxle. This will hold about 100,000 tons, just this bay here. This one here is a roughly 60,000, give or take.
And what about the, you get mixed brown salt over there, right?
Yep, brown salt, I will take another 50,000 tons over there. So we'll transport it from here and add brown salt for colder temperatures.
And that's the salt we use for colder temperatures. Gets us down to what, 26, 28 degrees?
You can, 20 degrees. It'll, even in the teens, you know, if the sun pops out, Mother Nature has a big play in it. So, yeah, and our chloride, that's our chloride in there for, mainly for the summertime for dusty roads. We got 3,000 gallon tank there. And that's what we're getting ready for now. But sometimes we'll add a little calcium chloride in the wintertime for temperature too, add it to our salt. We just put a little bit on there, spin it. Probably a gallon per mile, or what am I trying to say? A gallon per a yard of salt. Depends on your temperature, but it does work.
And that stops the bounce of the salt?
Yep, correct. Keeps it on the road.
Oh, I'm sorry.
These are our bunkers for some of our on-site storage for either road gravel for our back roads or some select stuff, just wash stone for any type of repairs we do. Obviously that over there is some of our spoils. We transfer that out to the landfill, right? Yep. We have another site at the landfill where we have storage for salt, other larger materials, and it's our dump site for all of our spoils for working around town.
So what's a spoil?
Excess soil, rock, stone, pipe.
Okay.
Our problem is here though, I've been here all these years, I started in '79, this complex is the same, we haven't expanded. The town keeps growing and growing and growing, and we keep getting compact. We used to be able to store everything up here, winter and summer. Now we have to take half of our equipment, bring it down to the tree farm to store it, you know, and then we trade things back and forth, whether, you know, we store it for the summer or store it for the winter, just so we can have a little room in here.
Okay.
But yeah, like I say, the town keeps growing and we have not here.
Okay, so then.
Still the same footprint.
Still the same.
So with the proposal to build a new fire station elsewhere and converting the fire station to public workspace, does that give you anywhere near as much space even, or are you still going to have to do the?
It gives us quite a bit of space. Obviously, for some of our vehicles, it frees up more room in the garage. If you guys remember, if you've been here during the winter time, we pack everything in there. It's almost next to near impossible to navigate around or walk around in the garage during the winter months.
Yeah, we have to take a couple of our plows off, put them on in the middle of the night, so we can't squeeze it out. It's crowded, believe me.
But as for material storage, this is sufficient to get us what we need to move around. Like I said, the third bay would be beneficial to us to have that much more salt up here. But a lot of our materials we use for projects, ditching and stone lining outfalls, we like to keep that down at the landfill because we have much more area to, you know, this just gets in the way. Plus we don't use it all the time, so. And then we have 2 more salt bunkers down there for emergency reserves, so.
Good thing you had it this year too.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get it. The whole Northeast couldn't get salt, and we just happened to have some in reserve, thank God, that got us by.
This over here is our water sewer building. Tyler Bortz is our foreman. He's in charge. of the day-to-day operations. And this was the original highway garage back in, I believe, the early 60s, right? It was 60. This was the highway garage in the 60s.
That was the highway garage to go back when it was built
Yeah.
in 1978.
So this is a 4-bay garage here. This also houses our buildings manager's office
And interns.
and the interns, including Dennis. He has an office over here. We have 3 trucks, 1-ton trucks. Varying stages of wear and tear on them. Some older than others. I'm sure Tyler would tell you that. This is a lot of the equipment we used during the summer months. Our line jetter, this is for cleaning all of our sewer lines. Our Vector, that cleans out a lot of our, we use those for valve cleaning and maintenance.
Water valves and small hydro excavation projects.
Yeah.
It's only 90-gallon capacity.
Yeah.
Nobody believes it for anything big.
Yeah. Our standby generators in the other bay over here. We use that to power all our pump stations. Power during emergency situations. That is on the capital plan. I'd like to see that replaced next year. That is, I think we purchased 1999 was the date on it. Sean's been doing some footwork for us to get some quotes, so we actually have good numbers to just pull the trigger.
That and bypass pump were purchased the same year.
Yep. Well, that's going to be this fiscal year. So we've got quotes on the bypass pump. Our bypass pump we have is, how old is that?
99.
It's another 90. So it's seeing its age. A lot of our equipment's seeing its age, and we just need to update. Now we'll keep this equipment and try to refurbish when we can as backups to what we have. We definitely need some newer equipment to continue to do what we do.
Blue bumps get tired.
Yes. Yes. These additions in the back, you can see in the garage. This used to be Parks and Rec. This is where Kenny was for a while.
Both bays.
Both bays, and then water sewer was this side. But we took the whole back, and that's where the offices are and the conference room. Well, it used to be a conference room. Actually, small conference room and an office split. That used to be one big conference room.
So Aaron, if there was a town-wide outage, how many generators do you have to run pump stations?
2 permanently mounted at stations, one at Alder Brook, one at Alder Lane, and then this portable one.
So is that enough to go
We've got
from
18 stations total.
stay on top of?
We'll have 18 stations at the end of the summer.
They make it work. And a lot of times, some of the smaller stations, they have a lot more capacity. They just don't see the flows. So they have the time to wait and hold as he goes through the process of pumping down each station with the generator.
And if the generator is not enough, we have that bypass pump as well. Yeah, not all the stations have hookups for that.
No.
Some of the smaller ones don't.
Some of the smaller ones, yep. Yep. But with
Sounds
two,
like that might be a delicate dance.
yeah, at our critical stations where we don't have the capacity, the detention time for sewer to, we have standby generators, and that's Alder Brook, of course, and then Alder Lane here on the corner. Heritage Estates is another station that we're looking at possibly putting in a standby generator on site as well. That's through Annie's new project there that is disrupting traffic on Center Road. We also have our fuel storage and dispensing station here. We have just put in a new system last year, Sean did, for tracking all the fuel throughout the town, each department. Prior, I've always found it odd, it was always under, for fuel usage, it was always under the highway budget for the fuel. Now we can better track for kind of allocate where we see particular budgets.
Does each department have their own like fob, or how are you making that distinction?
Each department, Parks and Rec, Police, Fire, and Public Works. Sewer's on the same list as the Public Works. So once a month, we generate a report that has right to the gallon what each department used.
Cool.
Like that, yeah, go for it.
So I'm making a video of the tour. So could you tell me who you are and what your position is, please?
My name's Sean McNamara. I'm the buildings manager.
Okay. And anyone else here I should ask that question of? So who are you and what's your position, please?
Tyler Boards, I'm the water sewer foreman.
Water Sewer Department. Okay, thank you. Am I missing anyone?
Oh, probably me. Eric Barcom, highway foreman.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever you need.
Kenny goes where we need him.
Yeah. Red Rover, send Kenny right over.
Okay, so you do more than just drive the bus? Is that
Yeah, Parks and Rec, Highway, Water Sewer if they need me, anybody.
Okay, and what was your name again?
Ken Booker.
Ken Booker. Okay, thank you. I thought you were a lowly bus driver like myself.
No, Kenny is our all-around guy. He's all over the place.
Alrighty, well, we're all set. We can probably head down to Alder Brook if there's not any questions.
What's this building over?
Oh, Parks and Rec maintenance. That's their little island over here. So this, once upon a time, used to be the police storage and evidence building.
Oh wow.
Back when PD was at 81.
Yeah.
So after they built the new station,
Not more no barbed wire or anything.
no, but they had a security system on the side there. But yeah, so once they built Maple Street, they left this and Parks and Rec moved into here. Because before that, like I said, all we had were these two bays over here on the side, and kind of some area over here for lay down.
But it used to be highway at one point in time. I keep going back to highway because that's where I am. But yeah, we keep getting, like I say, the town keeps growing, and we keep getting more compact. We lost that to PD, then PD, like Aaron said, they built down there, and then Recreation took it over.
It was like a park there, wasn't it, where you skated?
Ice skate,
Basketball
the kids, yeah,
Yeah,
back in the
basketball
70s.
court right there.
Yep, used to be a basketball court, and they would hose it down, and the kids would skate. And then they had a little building off to the side, and little warm-up shack back in the 70s. It was pretty nice, actually.
All set. Benny.
Will you bring the bus over?
Aaron, how long have you been with the town?
2006.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Maybe we see a few things change. No, that's not used anymore.
So basically, it's just dead. It's just there. Just
Yeah.
because it's never been removed, but it's like dormant.
We don't even know if it works. No ideas.
No idea.
Go fire it up. Let's see. Well, I bet you a bunch of birds will come out of there in a hurry. Oh, I forget. Jacobs? Was it Jacob? Chief Jacobs from the Junction put that up years.
It was for fire?
No, it was for an emergency.
Oh.
Of course, it didn't have computers and everything back then. You know, if there was an emergency, they'd let that go off, blast that, and it
I ain't heard that in a while.
Well, we can probably try to turn it on.
That's what I said.
I go see a bunch of birds that come out of it.
Somebody's getting right.
Yeah. Yeah, but nothing less than glass.
One more thing.
I heard it.
I said you were.
You heard it? Yeah, I heard it.
Thank you. Figure out a second. We need to figure out a second.
So right now, this is Alder Brook Pump Station. This is our largest station here in town. It receives roughly 500 to 550 gallons per day. All the sewer from town center as far away as Lang Farm travels all the way down through Center Road, Sand Hill to here. We have, what's that?
3 pump stations get here.
Yeah, well, eventually it gets here, right? This has a 12-inch diameter force main that's 1 3/4 mile long. Probably our largest force. It is our largest force main in town. This is the line that Annie has a project that we're trying to figure out today, but we'll figure it out. We're going to have an inspection on this pipe. It is ductile iron, class 52 ductile iron. Which makes it susceptible to corrosion. So we just want to verify the condition of the pipe. It is 40 years old. Make sure everything is okay with it, working properly, no leaks. Any leaks this will detect, this technology we have. But we'll have to figure out how to proceed if we do find significant leaks, because portions of this force main are in excess of 15 to 20 feet deep. So there would be considerable excavation here on 117 that I don't think the state would be too pleased if we had to repair. We can move inside. Tyler Board's here. I'll pass the mic to him and he can give us a tour of the controls and the pumps downstairs.
Okay, so who are you again and what's your position?
Tyler Barnes, I'm the water sewer foreman.
Okay, so what do you have for us today?
This is the Alder Brook pump station. The control panel was upgraded like 5 years ago.
Yes, 6.
I moved the controls from the box to the right. They upgraded it to the new system. This is one of our permanently managed standby generators.
And thank God it's not Tuesday when this cycles, because we wouldn't be able to hear ourselves thinking here. I think it's quite loud.
Yes.
So how long have you worked in here?
I've been here for almost 11 years.
And has your job changed since you got here? So,
I started as a summer help back in 2014.
okay.
Moved up to level 1, 2, 3, and now foreman.
Okay, so does you spend a little bit of time here or you spend a lot of time here?
Spend probably half hour here, half hour to an hour every day.
Every day, okay. And you're basically the only person who comes in here to do this, or?
It's us and contractors
Okay.
right now. We got Champlin Associates. They do some of our pump station maintenance because we're short staffed.
Okay.
Tyler, you want to take him down to the pump gallery and see the drives?
Yep.
So did you say this is a generator?
Oh yeah. The designer put the generator inside.
It starts while you're in here, you jump that foot off the ground. Walk to the water.
You said it just runs it once a week, just to exercise itself?
It exercises itself once a week. Every Tuesday it runs, and every first Wednesday of every month it runs, unloads, and we shut 3-mount power off, power the station off the generator for about a half an hour, and it switches back over.
So it's a diesel?
Yep.
Get a tank somewhere?
Inside. It's kind of a cool system. This is up, tank is down, actually pumps over. This unit right here is what pumps all the diesel fuel into this side of the building. That was upgraded at the last upgrade.
Oh, 8, right?
Yep, 2008.
Did they heat this building, or is it just?
Yep. Yeah, some of this stuff does not like to get very, very cold, so. It's got gas heat.
So where would you like to take us next?
Under the pump room?
Follow the leader.
Okay, so now you need to put it up here. Otherwise it won't hear you.
So these are the pump VFDs, variable frequency drive. They control the speed of the pump. They allow us to, when the pump turns on, it ramps up to almost full power, which scours the inside of the pipe force main, keeps it clean. And then it drops down to about 80%, and that saves on power and wear and tear on the pumps. At the next level.
Take them, I guess.
or down? Up or down?
Alright.
I assume up.
Yeah.
Let me go get our.
Okay.
Hi, Victoria.
So Caitlin will be right up.
So if you could just say something like, welcome to the public library.
I would love to. And you guys are going to be recorded all day, right? Asking all those great questions and all that stuff, right? Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm the Adult Services Librarian. Welcome to Essex Free Library.
Okay. So so what size is your staff? How long have you been here? What do you do?
So thank you for those questions. So you really want to have that conversation with the director. She'll be right up, Caitlin
Okay.
Corliss. But my name is Victoria Tibbetts. I'm the Adult Services Librarian, and you're going to get a little time with me after the children's area. So Caitlin decided to start downstairs in the children's section this year because I think last time we did this, we started here, and then we felt like this children's area got a little bit shortchanged. You kind of had to rush through. So we really wanted to make sure that you had some quality time with Emily and Noreen and had a good chance to understand all the fabulous things that they do with the children and the families first. And then you'll come up to this floor and I'll talk about collection development, which is one of the key things that I do. And then Caitlin will take you up to the mezzanine. And here she is, Caitlin Corliss.
Thank you. All right, welcome everybody. I'm Caitlin Corliss. I'm the library director here at Essex Free. So glad to see you all and to be able to show you what we do in our space. I know many of you are familiar with what we already do, but we are a place of learning and a place that's always evolving, so hopefully you'll take away something new. Today you'll get the chance to talk more with our library staff. So you met our assistant director, Victoria Tibbetts, and our public service librarian, Caitlin Epstein. So we're going to make some stops along the way. I'll be your tour guide, and we'll go downstairs as well. But just to tell you a little bit about the building, I think many of you know this used to be a congregational church. It was first built in 1840. And in the late 80s, the library moved here. It used to be across the street at the Public Works building, and before that it was in Memorial Hall. So Essex Free has moved around a bit. It's clear that a library is more than the building in which it's contained. And that's kind of the spirit of Essex Free here. So whatever happens in the future, Essex Free, the spirit behind it, the community, the staff behind it, will follow us wherever. So I think that we will head downstairs. We serve all members of the community, no matter their household situation, their background. We serve ages 0 to 100 plus. Everybody is welcome here. We have something for everything, and we hope to follow people their entire lives, from babies to adulthood. So we're going to start age order and start where our youngest patrons are. So we'll head downstairs to the children's area, and we'll head out through the lobby.
Okay, thank you.
Start the stage.
All right, so here we are in the lobby. You'll see that we are doing lobby pickup of items. That's something that started during COVID, so people can place holds on items, and for their convenience, they can just pick up items. If they're in a hurry, they can just come in and quickly get them. We do see a lot of patrons that come into the building as well, Last year we had about 30,000 patron visits over the year. So we're always happy to see people. We also, in addition to free books and other free items, we've become a source of free public health materials. So over here we have a free area. We have free COVID tests that we've been giving away for years now. We have gun locks that people can take. We have harm reduction packs from the Vermont Department of Health that have Narcan and fentanyl testing strips. What's really been neat is that the state is recognizing libraries as being the key to communities, how people can pick up things. They know they're meeting people where they are, and it's neat that the library can support that. So we'll head downstairs. And over here you'll see some of our creations from Lego Club, which meets every Wednesday afternoon, and it's run by one of our youth service librarians, Noreen. She will tell you a bit more about that club. And here we are in the children's area. We have our volunteer Duncan here today. We have several volunteers who come to the library. We have almost a volunteer every day. And the volunteers help us sort through books. They do shelving, and we're very lucky to have them. And tomorrow we're actually celebrating them. We're having our volunteer pizza luncheon, so that will be fun tomorrow. Over here we have Noreen Pelchat. She's our interlibrary loan librarian, and she's a youth services person as well. She does a little bit of everything. So you'll see some of the work that she does. And here we have Emily Mandeville-Hool, who is our youth services librarian. These are two fantastic librarians. We have an incredible staff here. So I will hand it over to Emily.
Oh, I get a microphone.
You do.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So welcome to the children's section. I know that Caitlin gave you a brief introduction as you were walking down here, but this is where I'm primarily found most days. This is where all the youth programming happens for the children's room, and this is where our children's collection is shelved. So we have everything from board books for infants all the way up through chapter books for middle grades up through about 8th grade. Our young adult section is also under my purview, and that will be upstairs on the 2nd floor. Down here is where we have our story times, our musical one on Mondays and our regular public story time on Wednesdays. We also hold Lego Club in the back room as well as Pokemon Club. We also have ongoing self-directed programs that happen down here. The blue table behind you is what we call our exploration station. I put a different program out each week for kids to do, and a lot of families come specifically for the purpose of seeing what's on that table. It can be anything from magnets and circuit boards to things as simple as facial recognition skills with potato heads. Who doesn't like a Mr. Potato Head? Oh goodness, and along with all the books that we have for the children's section, we also have a pretty healthy collection of a library of things. So in this window over here, we have our children's ukuleles and guitars. We've also got beginner level sewing machines, keyboards, spirographs. Those are all items that families can sign out. In these windows to my left, we have some of our board game collection, which is available to sign up for the public. The remainder of the board game collection is down that hall. We also have children's puzzles available for circulation as well. So those are all the items and the things that we have down here, and the activities we do down here. I'm also in charge of several outreach programs. We work with preschools that request our services within a 1.5-mile radius of the library. So I do travel to the Hand in Hand Preschool and Steamworks Preschool, as well as the Balancing Act Daycare Center with Regal Gymnastics. And next door we have the Green Mountain Montessori Preschool that brings half of their cohort on Wednesdays for a story time and the other half on Thursdays for a story time. So if you'd really like to see this space when it's bumping, come on over on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon if you want to see what 20 preschoolers in this space looks like. It's a really fun time. Somebody will ask you if you know where the Godzilla books are, and if they do, we don't have any. Is there anything that I forgot to mention?
Summer reading program.
Summer reading program. We're getting ready for summer reading, and that's easily one of our busiest times of the year because kids aren't in school, so they're going to be coming in with their families much more often than they typically would. We have most of our regular programming happening during the summer, but we'll also add things. So this year our theme is Color Your World. That's a national theme that's going to be happening for summer reading programs across the U.S. So this year we're going to be doing the Artist's Corner every Wednesday, where a different art activity will be set up either in here or in the backyard. We're also going to be introducing a few young adult programs, such as the Book Talk Corner, where we're going to do a reader's advisory for teenagers if they want to come in, tell us what they're reading, grab a snack. We're also collaborating with the Brownell Library on a zine project. So every 2 weeks we'll focus on a different type of media. So teenagers can submit poems 1-2 week period. They can submit their own comics, strips, during a 2-week period, and between the two libraries we'll put together a magazine at the end of the summer. We usually run a bingo incentive program as well as a collaborative art project to keep kids reading throughout the summer. And in a few weeks at the beginning of June, we're going to be having the grade school classes come in to sort of hype them up and get them ready. And the big draw, of course, is our big programs that we do. So we're having Alex the Magician come for a big program at the very beginning. We're also going to be having Ashley Hensel Browning, who's a dance instructor, come. We're going to be having the Lyric Youth Theater Company come to perform James and the Giant Peach over at Memorial Hall. And then we're going to be having a program with the Vermont Natural History Museum. Of course, the live animal programs are always a big deal. Usually the birds of prey are what the kids are most excited to see, and there probably will be one. I'll hand the microphone over to my coworker Noreen because she also does quite a bit, unless you have something you'd like to add.
Can I brag about you first?
By all means.
So Emily does all the collection development down here, from board books, picture books, all the way up until young adult. She is a huge reader, and she's actually part of the Vermont Golden Dome Committee. So she is part of the reading committee for the book award for grades 4 through 8 in the state, and I don't even know I can't remember how many books you read, but...
For this past list that was just published, I read 102 books for consideration. 73 books made it to the short list, and in the span of one day we had to bring 73 books to a 25 book list. It's hard to do that. Librarians get very defensive of the books we really like. So there were almost fisticuffs broken out at this meeting, but we restrained ourselves. It was
So she really gets the Essex Free name out there, and she's a great resource. Kids ask her for lots of recommendations. She knows every book. She's a great book talker. So very lucky to have Emily.
Well, thank you.
All right, I'll hand it over to the wonderful Noreen Pelcha.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Noreen. I've been here about 5 years, a little over 5 years now, and I run the Lego Club. And we do that every Wednesday. I take a break for the summer so I can be fresh for the school year. This year we partnered with Global Foundries, and they came once a month and did Robotics Club with us. And I just heard back from them today, and they're going to be doing it again next year with us. So that's good news. I facilitate Dungeons and Dragons with the teens. We have a teen that runs it. He had helped out at our library when he was a little bit younger, so he volunteered to lead that. And what else do I do? Music story time with the ukulele on Mondays. And I do a lot. I wear a lot of hats. I do book repairs, DVD repairs. I do the electronic newsletter. I help upstairs when needed. And the other thing I do is I teach 2 adult classes for creative card making. And when we go see our community room, you can see some samples of work that we've done together. Anything else?
Noreen really does a bit of everything. We've thrown a lot at her over the years. You'll get to see, we'll check out the activity room first. When we go down the hall, you'll get to see some of her newsletter skills. She's printed out the e-newsletter that goes out every month. So
it was much longer than I thought when you printed out.
There's a lot going on, and Noreen keeps track of all of that. She works with all ages and finds any book that most books that people want. So and story times can have the room can fill with 30 people. So story times take place out here, so it can get pretty crowded. One complaint that we do get at the library is the lack of parking, which is unfortunate. We need more parking. But the fact that so many people want to be here to put a positive spin on things, that's pretty great. So parking is an issue during story times, knitting club upstairs, Pokemon. 1 week Emily had 17 kids. So it gets busy down here, and yeah, we're happy that so many people want to come in and use the space and come to programs. So we can head to the activity room. I don't know if you just all want to take a peek. So Noreen is a very talented artist. We have one patron who is an older gentleman who really enjoyed doing the cards and said it got him to write to his children. Very good.
That's all. These are great.
Yeah, right?
And this is our activity room space. It's pretty small, so we have to have smaller programs in here. I think fire code wise it's about 9 people. So we do have registration for Noreen's very popular card class. We also have Zentangle that meets here, and we have I think a cap of 8 people for both of those programs.
What is Zentangle?
Zentangle is like a combination of doodling and meditation. So everybody, we have an instructor who comes, and you just kind of, everybody creates their own thing. So it's kind of a more peaceful activity, would you say?
Yeah, and she shows you like the marks to make, but anybody can do it. You don't have to be an artist to do it, and then you do it on your little 3-inch square. And everybody's comes out a little different, even though she's teaching you the same thing. So it's kind of neat. Yeah.
And it sells out like that.
Oh, yeah.
They do,
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, our newsletter goes out the first of the month, and
Usually within
they-
2 days, all the slots for all the classes are filled.
I would say like within the first hour, several are
Yeah.
snatched
Yeah.
up. People just take those. People have complained that they've never gotten to do it because they're.
Or that they can't sign up ahead, but we feel it's not fair if you can sign up ahead, you'll sign up for all of them, and then nobody will get a chance to do it.
Can I plug one more program that we do back there?
Yeah.
We had a partnership with a local therapy dog owner and therapy dog. So this is a relatively recent program that we started doing. It's the Read to Chewy program. Chewy is a registered therapy dog with Therapy Dogs of Vermont. He's a 4-year-old golden retriever. And as I like to tell people, he is a certified good boy. We will take the tables down in that room and we lay yoga mats on the floor and we bring in the comfy squishy chairs. In the wintertime we put like a fireplace on the TV back there, and families can sign up for 15-minute time slots to sit in there and have their kids practice reading with Chewy. Or if they don't want to sign up for a time slot, they can just come in and give Chewy a pat. He does the lean that dogs do. They'll come up to you and they'll just lean right into your legs, and it is the most comforting thing. We've had adults just come in to say hello to Chewy. But this is Cindy Turcott is Chewy's owner, and she does this on a volunteer basis. So I think that just speaks to the connection we have to the community, that there are people willing to volunteer their time to help us do programs like this. Noreen mentioned we have a teen volunteer who facilitates or like leads the Dungeons and Dragons. A couple years ago, we had a high school student who used to run Lego Club for us. It's really neat that we have a lot of people volunteering their time for programs like this, and they frequently happen back there.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me plug that.
Oh, I do have one more thing to say. At our story times, we have a lot of young parents come in, and I have to say, a lot of them come and they want to build community.
Yeah.
And so we have, I know this one mom who came in, she's been reaching out to all the parents, and now she's starting groups to meet in different places, and it's just a great place to come and start that community up.
All right, so we'll move down this hallway. So here is the printed out newsletter, and it is quite long. It keeps getting longer and longer. So lots of good, exciting programs and services to promote. And we'll go back this way. Back here is our accessible entrance, and I know many of you know we've had some issues with it. Last year we did apply for a grant to see if we could get the front of the building accessible with a ramp. We did not get the grant, but we did a lot of good work, and moving forward maybe something will come of that. In the meantime, we're working with what we have. It does get, unfortunately, icy in the winter, which is not what you want for an accessible entrance. Ideally, we'd want everybody coming in through the front entrance. Everybody, feeling welcome and have it be inclusive. So that's just one of the challenges we have here.
You don't have a border to deal with, right?
What's that?
You don't have a border to deal with. The Haskell Library, that's happening.
Oh, yes, yeah. All right, so we'll head up to the main floor. Bit of a tight squeeze over here, but if you look over there in the hallway, that's our book discussion set. So those are multiple copies of books that different book groups will read. So our book group, we have 2 book groups now. Our noontime book discussion, I think, has been happening for 20-something years. So over the years, they have read, I think, all of those titles. We actually have about 200 multiple copy titles. So we lend those out to a lot of book groups. Other library book discussion groups will interlibrary loan some of them to people. Along the hallway here, these are donations, book donations from many of our generous community members. Donated books either can go into the collection or they will go into our book sale. And the book sale is run by the Friends of the Library. It takes place the first Saturday in June, so it's coming up. We have 2 really dedicated library volunteers who sort through books, make sure they're in the right categories, and then we will do the book sale in Memorial Hall. We get a lot of help from Public Works and Parks and Rec in moving books around, so we're always very thankful for their help. This is one of our bigger fundraisers. The Friends use this fundraiser to raise money for the summer reading program that Emily talked about. It's really adds to the program. And over here we'll go back to Victoria and Caitlin. I'll just hand it right over to Victoria.
Good morning again, everybody. So again, I'm Victoria Tibbetts, and I'm the Adult Services Librarian. This way. Oh. Hey, Kenny, how's it going this morning?
Hi.
Always good to see you, and everybody else. So my main role as Adult Services Librarian is collection development, which is just a fancy way of describing the choices that get made for the materials that get brought into the adult collection. So like Emily does downstairs, and she makes the choices for DVDs and audiobooks and books, and I'm doing the same thing for this. So that's everything you see down here, and most of what you see up in the mezzanine are the kinds of materials that I select based on our collection development policy. So that is incredibly challenging and fun. Really love it. It's a really important part of my job here. I also, along with Caitlin E., do programs for the adult services, or for the adults. So I lead the noon book group. Caitlin's just initiated the evening book group, which is off to a good start. Actually, we just started this month, and there were 6 people. We tend to get 11 or so people in the noon book group, which is a pretty big group. We meet right behind us. If you look at this little alcove created where the DVDs are right behind you, that's where we do most of our adult programs. There's a screen that gets pulled down when we have author talks or other speakers. Knitting group meets there. That's also can be 12 people or so. So we just circle up and enjoy that space. Tech Time is another important program that we offer. So people come in on an individualized basis with their devices. Could be a phone, could be an iPad, whatever it is that they need help with. And we do our very best to help them. And I'd say we have probably about an 85% success rate with folks. Sometimes people ask, why don't you do classes? It's really because what we do is offer individualized help. Somebody might want to know how to FaceTime with their grandkids. Someone might want to know how to use Facebook Marketplace or apply for a job. So we really want to give people the individualized service and information that they need. So there's all kinds of other programs. As a matter of fact, I'll leave you guys. Maybe I'll give them to Caitlin and she can hand them out on your way out. But we do have the May calendar, which has the children's as well as the adult programs on there. Outreach is also another part of what I do. So I've created relationships with the folks at Mansfield Place and Maple Ridge. Those folks live in our town. They're our residents. Many of them are no longer driving. And so it's really important that they have access to the same materials, the same level of access as anybody else. So I'm really pleased with the work we've been doing with them, and we're actually having some discussions with Town Meadow to roll it out to them too. So just because you can no longer drive, we want to make sure that you have access to all of the materials here at the library. Let's see, I don't know how much time are we given? All right, fine. I suppose like all of us, and we could talk a long time about our jobs, I think you'll find that we're all very passionate. So the intricacies and the complexity of the job we really just love to talk about. One of the other things that Caitlin E. and I do is we coordinate the display case, which is over here actually near Tammy. And this month we had a community member give us some antique Chinese bowls and textiles in celebration of Asian American Pacific Islander Month, which is this month in May. We've also had some nice collaborations with the Historical Society. They helped us with dinner dates last year, brought some pictures and some toe tags and milk bottles. They've also helped us with back to school with some vintage lunch boxes. So it's been really nice to be able to tap on them and have that collaboration since they're just across the way from us. What else did we do with them? Oh, vintage campaign buttons. They have a great collection over there. Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, I saw those. I was like, oh, really? Can't wait. Let's see, right behind you around this big table, we have the relaxation station. I took Emily's great idea of the exploration station. I said, what can we do for adults? I'm like, oh, we're going to call it the relaxation station. Grab a cup of coffee, community jigsaw puzzle. We had poetry during Poetry Month. So we're always going to have something that people can just sit. And I think one of my favorites, and we have seat gateways, yes, also. One of my favorite moments was two people who didn't know each other. One was probably a boy of maybe 9, and the other was someone who was maybe in her 70s. And they were working together, very hard to finish the puzzle. And it was really great. They didn't know each other, and they were having a great time. And that's the building community part of what the library fosters. We'll be talking about all the cool things we have in library things. When you get upstairs to the mezzanine, there's a nice demo up there, so I don't think I need to cover that. I guess what I'd say in conclusion is that really supporting an individual's pursuit of information and entertainment is what this is all about. It's what you want to go learn all about on your own time. There's nobody telling you to do it. You want to learn about something. And that's really exciting to help people with that sense of, well, I guess the library term, intellectual freedom, right? Is sort of that very highfalutin library term. I'll keep the mic just in case. I really think that that's the heart and soul of any public library, and that the staff here, with our kindness and our caring and our openness and our professionalism, really excel at that and meeting our our tagline, which is the road to discovery, enrichment, and community. And I think with that, I'm going to pass it over.
Hello, I'm Caitlin Epstein. I'm the Public Services and Cataloging Librarian. So with cataloging, one of my main roles is to do the cataloging for the adult collection. So that's any new items we get, processing that and adding that to our system so that patrons and staff can find it. It's searchable, it's discoverable. And then I'm also going to talk about what happens behind this desk. So this is the adult circulation desk. We all help cover this desk at various times. So here we're checking items out to patrons, we're checking things in, we're answering the phone, we're answering any emails that come in, we're helping anybody with any general question that they have. We have technology here that people use that they might need assistance with. So behind me up in the mezzanine, we have public computers. We also have printing, faxing, scanning, copying. So kind of like business center stuff. People take advantage of that, which is great. We also have Wi-Fi here. We're checking the holds queue to see if anybody put anything on hold, and then we're going and we're getting that and putting it out in the lobby for them to pick up. We do curbside pickup here, which people really enjoy. And then we're also registering people for cards and renewing cards.
We have, I think, Kenny said there's at least 2 pallets worth of books at this point. So 3 pallets worth, okay.
And you're not done yet.
Oh boy. So
I'm
and
sorry,
then,
when is that again?
so I think it's Saturday, June 7th. So it's the first Saturday in June. I think it's the 7th.
Also a plant sale
Yes, plant sale as well.
and bake sale.
Not a bake sale this year.
No bake sale?
No, just plants and books this year.
Here's to come over for a snack.
So upstairs on the balcony level, we have 4 public access computers. There's one downstairs as well in the children's area. So we have people throughout the day that use our computers. They do search the internet, apply for jobs, check their email, anything and everything. And like Victoria was talking about, we're always happy to help people with tech help. We also, getting back to the library being more than just a building, we also offer a lot of digital resources so that people can access some of our services outside of the library. So our digital subscriptions, they just continue to grow in usage and in the amount of services we have. So I thought I'd pull up a couple. We have our most popular digital resource right now is Libby by Overdrive, and that has ebooks and audiobooks. That's highly used. And we also, a lot of people don't know about the Palace Project, and that's another resource that's offered by the state and the Green Mountain Library Consortium. There's additional ebooks and audiobooks, so we're really trying to push that subscription as well. For a few years now, we've subscribed to Hoopla, which has just become unaffordable. The model just doesn't work for our budget. So we have made some changes, and what we're trying to do, Hoopla has ebooks, audiobooks, comic books, movies and TV that you can stream. So what we're trying to do is combine other resources to really replace Hoopla. So we have recently signed on to Biblio Plus, which has movies and TV. We've also, starting in June, we will have Canopy and Canopy for Kids, and I have that pulled up on the computer over there. And Mango Languages, which I've actually just recently started to use, and I think we need to let more people know about it because it is fantastic. So I'm working on my Spanish, and I think because of this, it's going pretty well. I hope. So, yeah, we've got a lot of digital resources. We'll head over this way, but on the way there, we can show you some of our Library of Things items. So we don't have one designated spot for our Library of Things. Kind of we put them where they fit. But over here we have sewing machines, we have pickleball, we have guitars. During the winter months, we have snowshoes. We have games and puzzles of all kinds. Frisbee golf. Really, we're always taking suggestions too. So if there's something recreational people want to do, they'll often request it, and we can see what we can do. We have a metal detector, which is one of those things that may not make sense for you to purchase on your own, but knowing that the library has it, I think is pretty convenient for people. More DVDs up here.
Where do you keep the stuff that's not out? Do you have storage? Like snowshoes and things like you're talking about?
Snowshoes are stored at the tree farm. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think we have 12 pairs, maybe even more. But they are, out of our Library of Things, they're the most popular. And we only have them out, well, I guess we have them out half the year, but they are really popular. So we have graphic novel section up here. I don't think Emily pointed out the graphic novel section downstairs. That's a growing collection. We're kind of running out of room there. We have a lot of young readers who enjoy graphic novels, so that's just, that readership has grown. And what we decided that we were going to do was subscribe to Comics Plus, which I actually had up here on this app, on the iPad. And there's just a lot of graphic novels for all ages. You can read them on your tablet, on the computer. There's so many, so I'm excited to promote that. We'll see if people are into it. And over here we have Canopy, which we don't actually, oops, I'm gonna take this off. We don't actually have Canopy until next month. That's when our subscription starts. But here is a trial version of it. My favorite part of it is Canopy Kids, which I'm excited to try out with my kids. They have some educational videos, read-along storybooks that kids can access, and some learn-to-read resources. And over here, we have a lot of different technology that we're still trying to get word out that we have these, but we do have people check out these CD players. This is a Bluetooth CD player. People don't have CD players in their cars anymore, so people generally check those out so that they can still listen to their CDs. We have a little Bluetooth speaker here. We have hotspots that people can check out so they can access the internet outside of the library. Microphone, our telescope, and we have Chromebooks that people can check out. We have a happy lamp over there that is popular during the winter months. Victoria pulled out the ghost hunting kit, which is one of our quirky parts of the collection. So that's pretty popular.
Caitlin, would you mind touching on the various boards that you interact with, and just like
Sure.
you are unique in that you have two bosses, really?
Yes, good question. So the library has a library board of trustees, and they're in charge of overseeing the director, and they also make all of the policies. So we have a lot of policies like the material selection policy, which Victoria mentioned. Those are the guidelines as to how we select materials for the collection. So they really oversee the library. So they're overseeing the library, creating different policies, and we also have the town. This is a town building and a town department. So we're working with both, and I think everybody works really well together. I think together we've created a really strong library. We also have the Friends of the Library, who are our fundraising crew. So they're the ones that run the book sale and the plant sale, and they run the Cozy Nook Craft Fair, which is in the fall, and I believe it's the first weekend in November. And then we have a 501c3 committee, which is a combination of the Library Board of Trustees and the Friends of the Library, and they actually decide what to do with the money. So they ask us what we need, and they're very helpful to us. We put in requests for different materials. They helped with the murals and painting downstairs in the children's area. They provide the funding for the summer reading program. They pay for some performers, and yeah, it's a group effort. Up here we have more fiction. We have our classics. We really use the building as much as we can. We use all of this space for different programs because we just have the small activity room downstairs. We have, Victoria mentioned, the noontime book discussion group meets downstairs in the main area. Our knitting group meets there. Up here we have our Rummy Cube folks. So really we make the best with what space we have.
I'm impressed with your collection of magic cards in this room.
So that, we used to have a magician come here at the library. So he always ended his show with a card on the ceiling. So he would do this one magic trick, and he'd throw up a whole deck of cards, and the card that the kids picked in the beginning of the show would magically be up there. So he was here for about 25 years. Now we have Alex the Magician, who does her show in the Memorial Hall, where there's more space, because kids pack places for these magic shows. So it's Alex the Magician will be one of our hits of the summer.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
There's the Vermont statutes. Have you ever made them?
Oh, yep.
Oh, sure.
We got that. We have our holiday books here as well, and oops. So we can continue on this way.
I forgot about those cards. It's funny.
So that's really the whole space. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts?
What can you tell us about this building?
So it was a congregational church built in 1840. It was built on land that had been a wooden church that burned to the ground, I think, in 1839. Then they rebuilt this place very quickly. Throughout the years, it was a congregational church. It was a community center. Kids ate their school lunches here. And it became a community center. Then it was deserted for many years. And the library director at the time, Susan Overfield, who was the director when I started here, I think she was here for about 34 years. She was in the Public Works building, the small building, and she said she would look across the street longingly at this abandoned building, and she really hoped that they could be here one day. So they really made a great library here. We use the space really well. It's a charming place. And one, I think I shared this last year, one fun tidbit is the building across the street, the Public Works building, that was, the money raised for that was raised by a group of women called the Outlook Club. And they raised the money, I think it was about $1,400, something very, very low to build that. So I always liked that story, that it was created by these women that just wanted to help the community. So yeah. Any other questions?
Do you still use Memorial Hall for any of your activities?
We do. So for the big programs, we also, for big programs, if we can, we'll do it out in the yard, which traffic is pretty loud. So we were doing outdoor story time for a bit, and our voices just don't project enough to really have it out there. And this summer, when the Southern Vermont Natural History Museum comes with their birds of prey and animals, we'll probably do it here. I think Emily has also booked Memorial Hall in the event of rain. Alex the Magician will be at Memorial Hall. So we do use it a few times each year. So it's really good to have that space.
I understand scheduling is challenging.
It can be. There's, we'll reach out to Parks and Rec to see if it's available. And sometimes it is. In the summer, it's especially hard. We also, have the players also use the space quite a bit. So it can be challenging to find the space. What's tricky is we never know when we're having, usually we use them for the big programs, which generally have presenters come. We never quite know whether to book the presenter first or to book the space first. It's always like, oh, we hope it's available. This worked for the presenter. We hope the space is available. But we work it out. It would be nice to have space that we can always use, but we do the best that we can.
Okay, so as soon as we get in, I'll take
Okay.
Actually, just get it to me. Okay, you're good.
All right, so this is the main entrance for Parks and Rec. So people coming to get the Indian Brook passes, sign up for programs, they can do a lot of that online, or they can come in here to the main office. Hey, Jen.
Hello.
This is Jen Merritt, who is our business coordinator for Parks and Rec.
Hello.
And so, yeah, just doing the select board tour, showing people what's out of here. Talking about Indian Brook passes, sign up for programs.
Yep.
And then offices are behind you as well for the other office admin, administrative Parks and Rec staff. So that's the director, one of our program coordinators. Get some company today, keep us late. And anything else you want to speak to?
No, we've been very busy with Indian Brook stuff. We've been busy with Indian Brook passes this spring, as per normal, pool passes and programming and stuff. So our big thing, starting in June, we're going to have a farmers market coming to Sand Hill Park this year. That's very exciting. So that's going well. We've got, on any given day, 15 to 18 vendors showing up. So it's exciting and some entertainment, so things are going well. Been busy. It's our busy time of year.
And you'll get to see the actual parks later on today and see where a lot of the outdoor stuff happens. Again, mentioned how the conference room, how the conference room becomes a programming space for the indoor stuff. So there's still plenty of outdoor park space, and we take advantage of that, and so do our residents. And you'll get to see some of those spots later on today.
So we do offer senior vans for the town of Essex community. We have a pretty large senior community here in Essex. We basically bring them to shopping trips, doctor's appointments in the area, hair appointments, anything they need. We have some regular riders each week, and we've been slowly getting new ridership as well recently. So, yeah.
So is it limited to just Essex, or
It's-
some scheduled out of Essex?
So the ridership is for only Essex Town residents only. There is some areas, like we will bring them over to Fanny Allen for doctor's appointments, but for the most part, it's everything within Essex or Essex Junction area.
So on the bus, there was a sign that said Walmart on Friday.
Yep, so that's the other thing. Thanks for saying that. Every other Friday or once or twice a month, we do what we call Friday Frolics. So we take them sometimes to Walmart, Trader Joe's, different places like that they don't always have a chance to go to. We have in the past brought them in like fall foliage tours as well on a Friday and done different things like that with them as well. So that's part of the senior services as well.
So
folks call and let you know what their needs are?
Yep, so every Monday they call in and let us know what they need for the week. So like Nicole's taking calls today for riders this week, and whether it's doctor's appointments, grocery stores, or things like that. And then if we're doing a Friday Frolic, we'll announce it like a month before, and they can sign up for the Friday Frolics as they want as well.
Yeah, you do special events too, like town meeting if people.
Yep, town meeting if they needed a ride for that, anything like that. We try to serve the seniors as much as we can. And we're also trying to find a way, if it works, where we can get them to the farmer's market, at least maybe once a month or something, so that they have the opportunity for some of the fresh produce and seeing some of the local vendors and stuff as well.
Is there an age for senior? What's the criteria?
I'm gonna use a cheat sheet here. Nicole would be the better one on the age. This is our van sign up. I think it's 55. I think it's 55 and older. And they sign up. This is their ridership sheet. And they sign up with this, and then once we have this in the system, they can start making their calls to ride.
And Jen, we have these in the office here
We
and
have
online as well?
in the office, online, and we even have them on the vans too.
Oh,
So
great.
people can share them with their friends as well, so.
That's great.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I see your big list here of
Oh.
things.
So that is, we started this last July. July is National Parks and Rec Month. So we did a silent auction. These are some of the items that we've collected so far for this year. It's grown since last year. So for the month of July, we'll have these on a silent auction online for people to bid on. And was trying to get people out, whether it's like you see some Stowe Bowl, the Trapp Family Lodge, Spirited Ethan Allen, just to get people outdoors doing different things, whether it's simple or trying something new that they might not necessarily try. So we'll have that
So
open
quite a
up.
list. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we've got a few more that keep coming in slowly too. We tried to make it for the whole family, whether just kind of give people a wide variety of different things to try and see different parts of the area as well. So, and the profits for that go to our program fund to help keep some of our program costs lower and support our programs and seniors and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And that'll be the whole month of July?
It'll be the whole month of July, yep. So we'll open it July 1st and they'll close July 31st or
Yeah.
my company days are in July, at midnight. And then people can stop in here and grab them.
Super.
We've had really good support from a lot of business. A lot of these are repeat businesses, some are new. Most of the time when I talk to people, they're very excited about it and want to support the cause, so.
That's been really successful in the past for a fundraiser?
Yeah, well, last year was our first year. It was really successful. People loved it. They had they had a lot of fun doing it. The businesses, a lot of them said that they saw the people turning in the gift certificates and stuff, because a lot of times I think gift certificates don't always get turned in. They get forgotten about, but I had some feedback saying that a lot of people got stuff back, so they liked seeing that and stuff.
Matt, you had one.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Thank you. I could become Spider-Man.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. The Essex Community Justice Center. My name is Stacy and I am the Community Connections Coordinator here at the Essex CJC. And one of our practices here at the Essex CJC is to use what we call a circle practice. So we're going to start today by doing a little bit of a modified version of that. There are some important components of circle process. Usually there's a centerpiece. I have chosen not to do that. There is a talking piece, which we actually will use today. And usually with circle process, there are some steps. So there's an introduction, there's some ground rule setting, there's some shared agreements that happen, and then there's a process to go through. And for timing purposes, we won't go through all of that today. But I am going to ask that at least for this initial part, we use the talking piece, which is one of the most critical elements of circle process. And it does a couple of different things. it creates an environment where everybody is a part of the discussion. And so it balances power. Once I pass this out of my hand, I no longer have the option of talking. You only can talk when you have that talking piece. And it sort of creates an environment where there's nobody inside the circle, outside of the circle. We're all a part of the circle and all have equal opportunity to participate.
Are you done?
Yes.
Because I had not thought of this before, but so we use circles in 3 different ways. They are used in multiple ways, and in particular 3 ways here at the CJC. The first way is around community building, and that's sort of what Stacy's going to facilitate. The second one is around when there's conflict, so dealing with conflict in a community, in a circle process. And then the third way is when somebody's re-entering from prison and welcoming them back into the community and forming a circle around them and that kind of thing. So the circle is sort of symbolic to the work that we do here, and that just gives you a little more context of the kind of circle you're going to get an experience with, how it relates to the rest of our work. Thank you.
So just make up a name. You don't have to use your name when we go around.
So we are going to do just probably just one round, and so what I'm going to ask for everybody to do is just introduce yourself so that we all know who we're sitting in the circle with, and then if you would share one curiosity that you have about the work that we do here, reentry work, restorative work, or just community justice in general. We're not going to address necessarily each and every question, but just so that we can get a sense of what folks are curious about. And I'll go that way.
Sure. My name is Karen Adams. I'm the Deputy Town Manager. And I have heard a lot more on the police side about the satisfaction officers get when they can see the process unfold, and that it brings them a lot of satisfaction in their job to know how something evolves or even be consulted in their opinion about how a case should be treated. I'd love to know what that looks like from your perspective.
Ken Booker, Parks and Rec, highway, bus driver. Anything else? I'm just curious to see what's going on here.
Hi, I'm Shannon Jackson. I'm the newest select board member, and I'm really enjoying this tour today. Thank you, Tammy, for arranging. I'm excited to hear how your work really helps the community.
Tracy Delphia, I'm the current chair of the select board, and I'm curious about the future of the CJC and what that looks like.
Andy Wasp, select board member, former chair, former vice chair. I recently read, finally, The Lord of the Flies, and they had a talking piece, and it didn't always work, so I wonder how you deal with when it doesn't work.
I'm Leah Sanguinetti, an engineer in public works, and I honestly didn't know that this resource was available in Essex, so I'm just curious to learn more about it.
I'm Tammy Getchell. I'm an assistant to the manager, and I do the public information officer. I've been on, this is probably my 3rd time here doing this piece, and I find it interesting every time I learn something new. I think I would be curious about, I don't really want to say alumni, but basically the people that you have kind of set forth, and you know, do they ever come back? I mean, do you hear from them and you see where the road they've traveled? You know, what types of inspirational or what types of challenges, or does it change the way you do things now because of maybe something somebody has come back and said? So.
Hi all, my name is Susanna Weller. I've worked here at the Essex Community Justice Center for almost 10 years now. And part of what I do is staff restorative justice panels. And I also do outreach to victims of crime where the person who is responsible for the crime may not even have been caught. So just support to victims.
My name is Michelle Teagarden. Welcome everybody. I am a staff member here. I also do this similar work to what Susanna does. She works with cases, restorative justice panel cases from Essex, and I work with those in Colchester and Milton. And my curiosity is, I love all your curiosities, so I'm curious to see how those are addressed.
I'm Jill Evans. I'm the director here at the Community Justice Center. And I apologize, I have to leave at 2:30 because I have a meeting in Burlington that starts at 3, but Susanna, Michelle, and Stacy will be able to stay till the end of your tour time and answer whatever questions left unanswered. And
I'm Stacy Jones. Again, I'm here, Community Connections Coordinator, and then I also do the CAP program, which is the Conflict Assistance Program, the COSA program, which is our reentry program, so folks exiting incarceration, and then I support Susanna as a backup person on victims outreach as well. And my curiosity today is just sort of getting a better understanding of what you all do know about the work that we do, and seeing how that unfolds in the community. We're gonna go ahead and show you a short video about restorative justice, and then Jill is gonna do an overview for us about the work that we do here, and then Susanna and Michelle will talk about their respective programs, and we'll close up with questions.
so I actually am going to start with just a little bit, sorry I didn't talk about my curiosity, but so it's not surprising to us that people don't know that the Community Justice Center exists. I think we've done a lot of work in the last 10 years to try to become more visible, and certainly we have, but I mean, one of the reasons why people don't know is because everybody that gets served here, it's a confidential process. So who comes and gets services, their identity is kept confidential, who's coming out of prison, so that we have lots of volunteers who volunteer, find out about us, want to do the work, and they do the work with us and for us. But it's not like except for the conflict assistance stuff, it's because I think a lot of what we do is protected by confidentiality. And I can just say that generally, and Tracy probably it would be great to catch up with you about your curiosity about the future, because we might not get to the complexities of that at this point, but know that the landscape around the use of restorative justice adjacent to the criminal legal system, the landscape has changed a lot, and the community justice centers have been in existence since the early 90s. And the way they came about was that the Department of Corrections did a public, I don't know what they're called, the official survey, company, communications, what are those things called? It's like a public opinion kind of survey about the Department of Corrections, what Vermonters thought about, it was a big deal poll, and basically what they heard back from the community when they did the response was that they thought that they should be involved, they don't know what the Department of Corrections did. They thought that there were people going to prison who maybe didn't need to go to prison, and that it should be used for less violent people, and that they wanted somehow to be involved in the crime and conflict in their communities. So the way that community justice centers got started was the Department of Corrections approached different municipalities who had expressed interest and funded the development of these community justice centers to create a community piece to someone going through the criminal legal system. So the way it operated from the very beginning was somebody would get arrested, go to court, get convicted of whatever their crime was, and then part of their sentence was you need to go to a community justice center for a restorative process, and back then it was called reparative probation. And it was community volunteers, and the one here in Essex started in 2003, I think. And it was originally all volunteer run, and it happened out of the basement of one of the churches here in town, and it's grown over the years. At one point there were 21 community justice centers across the state of Vermont, so the entire state is served by community justice centers. And then in terms of the landscape changing, that got reduced. We were down to 17. This coming July it's going down to 13. So there's some things that are shifting in terms of the services that are being delivered and how they're being funded mostly. But so now I'll play the video because what started was a response to sort of public opinion about wanting community involvement, and the community involvement looked like, and Michelle and Suzanne will talk more about panel processes, but somebody coming before their neighbors, essentially, community members. They've committed a crime, what impact have they had on the community, and what kinds of things can they do to, repair that harm. And over the years, the use of restorative justice and restorative practices, which are a defined set of ways of doing things rooted in indigenous culture, have been incorporated into it so that it now looks different than it did back then. And we will talk about it, but it was a way to have the community be and feel involved in somebody's harm to the community. And this is just a short video about why we need restorative justice.
I think that we go on to what we do.
To do the panels?
I think so.
Yeah. I guess one of the things I'll say that in terms of what Tracy was asking is that the Department of Corrections has paid for the work that we've done since we started. Stacy listed off the different buckets of service that we provide. Oh, I know what I was going to say. The way that it started was post-adjudication, after they've gone to court and that kind of thing, and meeting with community members then. What has happened across the state of Vermont has happened differently in terms of how restorative justice has evolved. Chittenden County has been very progressive because of our leadership in our state's attorney's office. So that we have shifted from working all with people post-adjudication to working almost exclusively with people who are getting referred directly from law enforcement without ever going to court, without ever going to the state's attorney or that kind of thing. And that has created an issue in terms of geographic equity across the state, where somebody in Burlington could be charged with a crime of assault against someone and go through a restorative process where they won't have a record if they complete, and somebody in Franklin County might have to go to court and end up serving a 30-day work crew sentence or something. So the issue of geographic equity came up in the legislature. The legislature created a bill, passed the bill, and so basically what they're trying to do is replicate what's happening in Chittenden County across the state, and in doing that, they're going to shift the funding of it from the Department of Corrections to the Attorney General's office, and then that's affecting what organizations will be around. So we are only funded for one more year to do restorative justice work with direct referrals from law enforcement, effective July 1st, 2026, all of the funding will go to the Burlington municipality. And what transpires between now and then and what it will look like on July 1st, 2026, we don't really know. We're working really closely with Burlington to figure it out. But at the same time, we've also lost our funding from the Department of Corrections, who's decided, I should have said there were 4 CJCs in Chittenden County. Only 2 of us have been doing the reentry work, and effective this year, so July 1st this year, they've decided to only fund 1 entity to do the post-adjudication work, and that is going to be the Burlington Probation and Parole Office. So those are the landscapey things that are shifting, and then I'll have Susanna and Michelle talk more about what it actually happens on the rending.
So I forgot how well that video sums up the restorative justice goals. So the way that we practice that is we get referrals. We work with pre-charge or pending charge cases. So if a person commits simple assault, there's a list of 20 or 30 different crimes that they can refer to us that are not murder, not sexual assault, but lower level crimes, yet impactful harm to affected parties and victims. So we get referrals from police departments, from Essex Police Department, Colchester Police Department, and Milton Police Department. And both Susanna and I take those referrals. She works with cases from people that are referred for crimes in Essex, and I do for Colchester and Milton. We also, a very important goal in our process is to address the harm to victims. So if I'm reaching out to a responsible party, Susanna is reaching out to the corresponding affected party. So there's no conflict of interest. So we get a case from, if I get a case from Colchester, it's a vandalism case. I invite the person to meet with me to talk about the voluntary process of participating in a restorative justice panel process, which gives them the opportunity to resolve their charge, take responsibility, address the harm that was caused, how it was caused, and very importantly, how to prevent something similar happening in the future. If they agree to that, if they indeed take responsibility for their crime and are prepared to do that, then we will schedule them for a restorative justice panel, which consists of 3 or 4 members of the community. We've enlisted many, many people in different communities that we work with, trained, dedicated, committed volunteers who facilitate the panel. I'm there, or Susanna's there for her panels, to staff it, to take notes, because in that first meeting they're creating what's called a restorative agreement or a contract that they agree collaboratively, that's not being dictated to them, how that harm is going to be repaired, whether it's restitution, whether it's letters of apology. In an ideal world, we also always involve the affected party to participate, or invite them to participate. In person is the most ideal thing. That often doesn't happen, but they may want to participate by writing letters, victim impact statements, or just request restitution. But in the instance with in this room, they're both here, they're represented by staff member. And it can be really powerful when the affected party expresses and conveys the impact that it had on their life. Many, many factors they didn't consider. A couple of cases we've had this past year that is really powerful is that the person, it was like a road rage thing, guy got out and punched the guy coming out of his car, and the affected party was really angry, didn't know where this was coming from, and it affected him very significantly. When we got them together, suddenly we started to realize through circle process, through hearing each other's stories, they had some real common ground, a lot in common. Both were disabled veterans, both suffered PTSD, and the level of contention really lowered, and they became to really identify with one another. Seeing how the responsible party really wanted to make things right had a big impact on that person. It doesn't always work out that beautifully. Sometimes it takes more work to get the affected party to really understand that we're trying to repair harm and prevent a crime from happening again in the future.
Can I just interject here? I'm assuming you maybe don't know how the criminal legal system works either, many of you probably. And so just so that you can compare and contrast sort of what Michelle just explained of what we do, what happens when somebody is charged with a crime and they get referred to court is that they lawyer up. If they don't have their means to hire their own lawyer, they get one appointed to them, and they go before a judge. They don't even speak. They go before a judge and their lawyer speaks for them. More often than not, almost all the time, they plead not guilty. And the victim is no longer the victim of the case. The state becomes the victim. So the paperwork all says, state v. the defendant, and the victim becomes a bystander. And in a very overburdened, under-resourced system, they do have victim services folks within our state's attorney's offices, but they have very little capacity to do outreach to all victims of crime. We outreach to every single victim, and maybe even beyond the direct victim, there might be others who are affected who can be involved in this process as well. So I just think it's really important to know that, because you talked about why the police officers feel satisfied. I think what gives us satisfaction in our work and what we see from the people that we work with is that the victim, whether they come to the process or not, their experience, their voice, their being becomes central to the process and stays that way. And when it goes through court, they're just sort of tossed aside. Sorry.
So I think we have a pretty high success rate. What does success mean? Is that the responsible party successfully completes all their meetings, completed the restorative agreement, and that the affected party is satisfied to the extent that, not 100%, but at least they get their voice heard. Ultimately, in the end, if that person satisfies their restorative agreement, completes the process, we will notify the referring officer that this person successfully completed, and the best outcome for that person is then that the charge is withdrawn. It is not filed. So they're able to move forward without this crime on their record. So, any questions about that so far?
Well, it seems like, can I just ask, I guess I am going to ask a question. So it seems though that like in this proposed change that they want to do, that's all you'll be doing. is what you're saying right now. It's preventing it from being on their record because they're not even getting charged and they're gonna be, it seems like it's just changing the whole dynamic of everything you're already doing, like what you're doing, and there may be components you're not gonna be able to do now, right?
We, here,
Right.
that's true, and sadly Stacy, her role will be ending at the end of June here because it's Department of Corrections funding. The pre-charge funding is coming from the Attorney General's office, but they are not funding anything that is post-adjudication, so it's really just sending all the post-adjudication case work to Burlington CJC.
Which seemed like that's what started it,
Yeah.
right?
There are some real origins there.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything about panel? I mean, you can throw anything.
I think the only thing I would add about panel is that when something happens that is scary, people make up stories in their head about why it happened and who the other person is. And one thing that I really appreciate about restorative justice panels is that when a responsible party and an affected party meet, some of those ideas get debunked and they can respond to each other as human beings rather than a stereotype they've decided upon. And it can be really powerful. Often, Michelle talked about how we have 3 or 4 volunteers that facilitate the process, and that's true when people responsible for crime and people who are harmed by crime are able to get together. Often, all the volunteers are doing is creating a space and getting the conversation going, and then the 2 people who were part of it get to have a real conversation as human beings. And I love that we can create a space where that is a safe thing to do and where people can get questions answered about what went on. I'm gonna change the topic a little bit. One of the things I do in addition to restorative justice panels is I do outreach to victims of crime. In Essex specifically, the Essex Police asked that we do outreach to victims of specific crimes in town, mostly the higher level crimes, robberies, assaults, car larcenies, which there are way too many of lately, and that kind of thing. So what I do is I go to the police department and I am looking at the police database, pulling cases that are appropriate, and then Stacy and I are doing outreach to those folks. Sometimes to connect them with funding, if there was medical concerns, sometimes to just give emotional support, sometimes to give them information about what's coming forward with court, if it's going to court, but that's another piece of what we do. If you've heard the word parallel justice, that is what this is. I stopped using that term because then everyone wants to know what the heck is that. And so I just say support to victims of crime, and but it is the same thing. And we started that. It started in the Burlington CJC, then South Burlington CJC started the work, and then we began the work on that. So we'll see how much of that happens going forward. We don't have answers to will that continue.
So my wife is a recent graduate of Vermont Law School, and I know that they're doing a restorative justice degree program.
Yes.
Are you at all involved with that, or is there an influx of people that will probably be coming to your field because of that?
We've seen a lot of people from there end up in the field. It's been a great source of good, knowledgeable people. That program started after I started this.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
We've had some trainings with faculty there.
Yeah.
With different CJCs.
And sometimes we get invited to be a guest speaker at a class, but we're not directly involved in making that happen.
I should also say that restorative justice we do direct service. Restorative justice has also been incorporated into school. Restorative justice has also been incorporated into school systems, and when it really works well, we do get cases referred to us that crimes that happen in schools, but they also are doing repair work restorative justice, work with affected and responsible parties in not necessarily crimes, but in behavior and conflict issues. And not just schools, but businesses, and so I think it's a concept. It's not just direct service like what we did.
Are there any misconceptions about your work that you're sort of constantly trying to overcome?
Yeah, what?
Absolutely. So one of the misconceptions is that it's the easy way out. So most of the crimes we're dealing with are lower level misdemeanor crimes. And as Jill said, when people go to court, they often have a lawyer speak for them. For most lower level crimes, they're not going to jail, so they're put on probation. And often they just have to call into their probation officer once a month. Here they actually have to take responsibility for what they did. They have to say, yeah, I did that. They have to be willing to make repairs. They have to be willing to talk to the affected party. So I think for some people it's a much harder route because they're not saying not guilty. They're saying, yep, I did that. And they actually have to engage in thinking about what they did and trying to make it right, which is not a requirement in the court process. So there's that.